friends, and welcome to Get Comfy with Laura, the podcast where we dive into getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. I'm your host, Laura Cardona, the Buena Vida life coach, emotional wizard, personal cheerleader, healing homie, breakthrough queen, and your support in shaping a Buena Vida. If you're ready for more than just listening, I've got all kinds of juicy goodies over at my website, buenavida.life, or come say hi on all the socials at Buena Vida Life Coach. Quick note for new listeners, because your time matters, I've trimmed the long hellos and intros so we can jump straight into the good stuff. Of course, all of our guest info, bio, links are in the show notes at the end of the episode and all over social media, so you won't miss a thing. All right, y'all, let's go get comfy with the uncomfy.
Get comfy with the uncomfy. Don't hide it. I feel it. El camino es crecer. I rise again. Get comfy with the uncomfy. That's where I find me.
When I was 17 years old, I went to the bathroom at work. And as I was getting up, I fell over. I couldn't move. My body just had a complete spasm. I didn't know what the words were at that point, but my back went out. Called for help. Someone eventually came in, and I crawled out of there. Crawled out of the public supermarket bathroom. That was the start of a very big adventure and a relationship with my back. At that point, so I went to the emergency room, doctors, all the follow-ups. The doctor said, you need an operation, you need surgery, and you have a 50% chance of never walking again. He told a 17-year-old girl she was never going to walk again. I said, no, I'm taking my 50% and I'm walking out of here. I'm sharing this story because it's a little preamble to what we're talking about today, which is pains in our body, discomfort, chronic pain, and our mind-body connection, and how we can embrace it, how we can think about it, how we can just be with it. Because I was 17, and I continued to just deal with it the rest of my life until I finally connected mind, body. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm so excited to introduce you to Carla Garcia. She is a pain coach, a therapist, a sound healer. So if you have that wrist pain, you have that back pain that's just kind of nagging at you, if you feel like there's something a little off, then listen to this episode. Let's get into it. How does a client end up working with you? What gets a client to say, I need a pain coach?
I would say that clients often end up in a place where they forget about themselves. They are parents. They are managers at work. They take on so many different roles, and in that process forget about listening to the signals in their body. And it can be the most basic signal, like basic human signal, like thirst, hunger, right, exhaustion, and we're trying to type that email, or we're trying to get to the next meeting, and we push those signals to the side, right? We'll get to it later. I'll have lunch later. But, once you do that, like so many times, the body will start to scream for help. And I say scream because that's what the pain is, or unpleasant sensations. It's your nervous system's last resort at trying to get your attention.
For someone who doesn't know what the nervous system is, right? Because there's, when I've tried to talk about it sometimes, they're like, but I'm not a nervous person. I'm not an anxious person. It's not, that's not the nervous system. So just to give us a little bit of clarification, what is the nervous system? What are we talking about here?
It's the function of the human body that keeps us alive, right? That fear, that fight, flight, or freeze response that maybe some folks are familiar with, that is what gets us out of danger, what warns you about, not getting too close to a tiger or, escaping a physical threat around you. It's the part of your body that functions as a protector, really, right? That's trying to keep you as a human alive and well. And sometimes it is physical threats that it's trying to protect us from. But from what I've seen through this mind-body work is that it's also psychological threats that it's trying to protect us from, emotional threats that it's trying to protect us from. So its goal and its function is just to keep its human alive.
Boom. What I'm hearing in a very simple way is once our hands get burned on that stove, we know
Yeah,
not to go back to that stove anymore, right?
right.
Also,
Exactly.
someone that we work with says a lot of mean things. Well, it's also our system saying, don't go to that person. That person sucks.
Right. After something doesn't feel right for you, that's the part of the nervous system that's trying to warn you not to do that thing again or not to be in that environment that isn't serving you anymore or isn't feeling safe for you.
It's such a big topic. I feel it so much because talking about being safe can mean a lot of things for a lot of different people, right? So let's say for your clients, how do you talk about a safe space?
Yeah. For everyone, it's so different. And I have to be honest that sometimes folks will come into sessions and we take some time really exploring that because some of them have never felt a sense of safety. So how do you get to a place that you've like never been before? So I do have to start there sometimes and work, meet them where they're at. That's a better way of phrasing that. Meeting them where they're at, starting with their experiences and what that was like for them, and then helping them get to a place where maybe there's an internal place in their body they can lean on for a sense of safety and it feels good to them. So it can look like something like that, or maybe there is a place in their life where they do feel safe. It might be with a certain person, a certain environment from their past, somewhere in their imagination that they create, and that creates a sense of safety for them. It's all valid, right? As long as their body is able to feel held in that way, they feel more at ease. It looks different for everybody.
Yeah. So for me, safe place means ease and calm. My entire life, that's the Buena Vida, is
Mm-hmm.
made for that. I'm not saying I feel safe all the time. There's plenty of times at Trader Joe's when I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But there's a lot of
Yep.
other times where my whole life is like, no, my home is my safe space. My spouse is my
Yeah.
home, my safe space. My doggies are a
Mm.
safe space. My friends are a safe space. So that's very different, right? So, but I want to get to a place where like someone's listening to this and saying, what the hell is a safe space? What do you mean to be safe? What do you mean feel
Mm.
safe? Like, I'm a woman walking the street. We're not safe, right? Just look at the political climate we're in. I'm not trying to get into a big
Yeah.
conversation around that, but there's just a very real feeling
It's
of
true.
how are you supposed to feel safe in a world that kind of doesn't feel safe?
There is a feeling of activation when you don't feel safe. Your body will tell you that something doesn't feel right. I will guide clients to search within their own body, even if it's a neutral place, because maybe there isn't a place in their body that feels good right now or in a more relaxed state. So we start with a neutral space and then we build up from there. And also, like I said earlier, if we don't have some place like physically in our lives where we do feel safe and away from threat and more at ease, then I do have folks tap into creating that place in their mind. What do they think a sense of safety would feel like? And then once they have that visualization in their body, what happens is a physical sensation will come out of that visualization. So then they have something there to lean on and to sit with and enjoy and tap into it the next time that they are out and about or they're at home and something feels activating. It's easy for them to tap into that place whenever they feel that they need to tap into that place.
It's beautiful. I love what you said too about you can aim to be neutral rather than be on the other side. Neutral is okay because you think it's sort of like driving. You got to go to I don't know how to drive stick, but like going to the second gear, whatever. Whatever. They go fast, right? But
Yeah.
maybe you just need to be in neutral. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
this leads to the conversation about chronic pain, because what ends up happening, right, from what I've read about all your work and from what I've read about chronic pain, is that we're in survival mode. We're constant
Mm,
activation. And what does
yeah.
that lead to?
Yeah. The body screaming at us, right? That something has to change ultimately.
Yeah. For me personally, it's my back, my lower back. We talked about a little bit
Mm,
about it. And
yeah.
I just hear it from everyone. My wrist, oh, my wrist. You're out with a friend, it's like, oh, my thumb, man, it's just been bugging me. They can't even talk. They can't concentrate on the conversation because it's just like, man, this thumb is hurting me. Or no, I've just been having a really bad headache for like 5 years. I've heard that before.
Mm,
It's really like, it's a lot, right?
it happens.
It happens and we don't even
Yeah.
know. We're not paying attention.
Yes. And the thing here that I'm also guilty of, and I've heard, family members, friends also, express is, oh, it must have been, that I was typing on the computer for too long. Or, if it's, our lower back, which I've experienced some sensation there as well. And my initial first thought used to be, oh, it's the stairs, or oh, it must have been when I was running or working out at the gym. We go straight to the physical, right, cause, but don't take into consideration the psychological, right? We're not asking ourselves, how am I feeling? What was my day like, right? If it was a really stressful day and our back is hurting or our head is hurting, we immediately go to structural, right? It must have been something I ate, something I did, and then we completely miss just checking in with ourselves emotionally, psychologically. And I would say that that's something important to do. And I don't want to, dismiss the fact that there are structural issues that can cause pain.
Of course.
But if there are unexplainable symptoms that keep coming up or they're inconsistent, those are some of the signs that can point to these psychosomatic symptoms, right? Being turned on by the brain when they shouldn't be. So when we experience something like that, I encourage my clients to check in with the psychological first before going down the rabbit hole of thinking it must be the stairs, right? There's something wrong with my body, because that fear in itself can keep us stuck in
Mm.
that what we call fear cycle, and it sucks us in, and then we're stuck, right? Feeling fear, and then the pain might increase. And because the pain might increase, the fear increases. So it's like this constant cycle. And so one of the ways to start making our way out of there is to decrease the sense of fear, right? Start checking in with our emotions, our psychological well-being. It's all tied together.
Yeah. So many follow-up questions. The first one is why do you think why we go straight to structural? Why do you think we
Mhm.
ignore the mental?
Great question. I have learned, even through myself, my own experiences, that when it's something physical, we feel more in control of the healing process, right? I can just go get this pain medication, right? Or, um, I don't know, like a cast, or, that's a more severe, example. But, we might get an icy hot, right? Or things that we are in reach, and it's a quick solution, or what might feel like a quick solution in that moment, right? All I have to do is go buy, that thing, and I'll feel better. But to think of sitting down and acknowledging those uncomfortable emotions that might be leading to the pain, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to sit with the discomfort. We don't want to sit with those heavy emotions. And I've been guilty of that myself, because that's what we've been taught to push through, right? To not be sad, not be angry. And so it's natural for us to gravitate towards the structural first. And I would want to throw in that, a lot of folks out there don't really know about mind-body healing or how emotions or chronic stress can impact the body in the first place. So that's all that they know, right? We grew up, right, going to the doctor for anything that we might be feeling in our body, right? We weren't taught to sit down and journal. We weren't taught to check in with our body throughout the day. This is something that's just ingrained in us. So it makes so much sense why we would gravitate towards the structural first.
It's this I don't want to say vicious cycle because it sounds very severe, but it really is sort of the fear cycle, I think, right? Is what you had
Yeah.
said, which is just it leads
Mm-hmm.
us to and correct me if I'm wrong, but like for me it was the ignoring. I want to say an ignoring cycle where it's almost
Mm-hmm.
just like it's not there, it's just not there, it's not there, it's not there, that
Yeah.
thing's not there, that thing's not
Yeah.
there, that thing's not there.
Yeah.
That comes
Yeah.
with, oh, I'm old, you said it, something's wrong with my body. Yeah, okay, maybe you could
Mm.
change your desk chair and get something ergonomic for your wrist. But it
Mm-hmm.
might be that, you
Yeah.
need to get up also because your boss is an ass. It could be a little of that.
Mm.
Like, there could be a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. True. True. Very true and very valid. And as you were sharing that piece, I want to add one more thing that you made me think of that shows up in a lot of the work that I do or in my clients' experiences is fear of diagnoses. And that is completely valid because these long medical terms, right? Fibromyalgia is a big one. And there's a lot of fear tied into that word alone, right? And rightfully so, right? You're hearing these medical terms like, oh my gosh, I have fibromyalgia or I've been diagnosed with this. And doctors don't know how they can get rid of the pain, but the diagnoses alone shakes people up so much that even just after that one appointment, their sensations can get more severe or start showing up more frequently because now they're panicking internally, right? Just due to the diagnoses alone or MRIs or scans. Sorry.
no, nor do you. I'm just sitting here and be like, girl, you don't even know. That's my whole life. Like,
Hmm.
it's true. And I hadn't even thought of it, Carla, to think when you get to diagnosis, I tell myself, okay, because I've gotten diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and it's just endless the amount of things. And people are like, that's not what you have. You have this, and you don't have this. You have that. And then I walk away and I tell myself, okay, well, at least now I have some information. But I'm forgetting the panic that is existing in my body at that same exact time. I would just want people to understand, honestly, and I'm having a hard time articulating it because it's so personal to me. And as I'm realizing, as I'm talking about it, I'm still healing. So that's why I can't necessarily articulate. I'm not on
Yeah.
the other side of it. So this is
Yeah.
why I'm not a pain
Yeah.
coach. You are a pain
Mm,
coach.
Laura. Well, I appreciate you. And if I may add, is the fact that this is an invisible illness, if you will, just for lack of a better word, that other folks in, the person's life that's navigating the chronic pain or the chronic symptom, they can't see. And so sometimes they can't understand what someone is going through. And that is the hardest thing for my clients to feel isolated, to feel that folks in their life are not listening to them, like truly listening to them. They find themselves repeating, themselves, the fact that they're not able to do something because of their condition, and family members will forget. And so because it's something that they can't see, right? Like a cut or, like, I don't know, like a fracture, right? That's something that you can physically see, like immediately that someone's in pain or discomfort. Chronic pain is often internal and they can't see it, right? People will have to take their word for it, and they end up not believing them at times, right? Oh, well, you look fine, right? You're sitting, you're standing, you're walking, you're running, you're going to work, right? So it must not be that bad, right? Your fatigue must not be that bad because I just saw you at the movie theater or, shopping for yourself, right? Sometimes sensations or symptoms are severe and they're high on the pain scale, but folks are still out there trying to live their life, do their best, right? And so they're pushing. You might not see that, but they're like fighting every day, right? And just trying to do the best that they can do.
It's such a parallel. I think as Latinas, we're taught Pa'lante, 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 pa'lante. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, won't stop. We hear so much of
Yeah.
that. And so we're
Mm-hmm.
taught to just keep going, keep going, keep going. And
Yeah.
you do. And the thing is, you do have to keep going. You still have to get up. Someone's listening to this and saying, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with all this? Okay, yeah, so I have chronic pain or I have something going on with me. I went to the doctor. They did an x-ray and something is wrong with my hand or my finger. What am I supposed to do with
Yeah.
that? Where do they start?
Great question. So after all of the structural has been ruled out, because I want everyone to feel safe, to take the proper steps before heading in and, speaking with a chronic pain coach or a chronic pain therapist, that's the number one thing. We got to make sure that you're okay and that doctors have taken a look there. And if their diagnosis doesn't resonate, or you often get different diagnoses at, every appointment, then we can start to explore the more psychological reasons as to why these symptoms are turning on or being activated by the brain. From there, I would want folks to explore, what their life has been like, since childhood, right? What was your family environment like? Um, were there anything, was there anything there that made you feel unsafe? Have you had any other symptoms, even as a child, that you weren't really sure what that was about, or it was inconsistent? It would come and go, like stomach aches. That's a big one in children that we often might brush off, right? It's like, oh, maybe they just overate or, the snacks, things like that. But something to just be aware of is, what was that like for me growing up? Did my body try to communicate in other ways? And maybe during that time, we missed it, or maybe it was brushed off, right, by doctors. So I would say that's a good step there, is just acknowledging some of the things that a person might have gone through that is trauma. And I will be the first to say that the first time that I went to therapy and sat down with my therapist, she asked me if I had any trauma. And I said, no, I don't think so. Because I have gone through things in my life, but I was like, oh, maybe other people go through it too, right? I don't think that's trauma. And she went down this list, of childhood adversity. It was a childhood adversity kind of screening. And I checked off so many things on that list. And she said, like, you actually have been through some trauma. And I was like, wow, I didn't think that I did before coming in and sitting down with you. And so that really turned on something in me that acknowledged how I had minimized my own experiences. And I think we often unintentionally do that. And so that's another thing that I would like to invite folks to sit with at their own pace, with whoever they feel comfortable with, if they have a therapist or the right support in their life, is acknowledging some of those difficult chapters in their life.
I feel remiss if I don't say this, that as a coach myself, when you start getting curious about things that are going on and what you're resisting, I urge you to get into a space of support and love. It can be very big. It can be very scary. It can feel very daunting. So make sure that you're in a
Mhm.
space. This is why people like us exist, because we've done this
Mhm.
work. We are not out here. Yes, we're all trying to make a living, but we're out here for service. Like, we're here because we want to do this work, and we've done this work. There's a lot of resources out there to get yourself into a place where you're with people that can hold that container for you, that can be there with you while you're uncovering
Yeah.
those kind of things. I think because I have a background in film, I think of the way that we operate, sort of like our eyes are our cameras, right? And our cameras are always pointing outwards. We're always like, no, it's the pillow. No, it's the keyboard. No, it's the desk. No, it's the desk chair. No, it's that shitty boss. And there's so many things, right? When you turn that in a little bit, when you start turning that camera in, and I'm not talking about criticizing yourself, but just, what can I do? How can I love myself in this moment? How can I take care of myself in this moment? That's when things start shifting. It's turning the cameras around to yourself and saying, what is going on? What am I resisting? Why can't I sit in
Yeah.
quiet for 10 seconds? What's going on there?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just about anything that'll turn the attention to yourself, where you can love yourself because you're worth it, because you can, and because you've endured. And I feel like now I'm moving on to like, start coaching, but there is this world where it's like, you think, I can't handle it. I know I've thought that. I can't handle it. I can't handle the pain. I can't handle doing the thing. Not true. You can't handle it. You have handled it. Right?
Yeah. 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 You're capable of more than you think.
What are like 2 things that someone can walk away with saying, okay, how can I sort of self-manage? Is that how maybe you would say? Or
I would say show up for themselves. I like to frame it in that way because it can include so much. If we can take some steps throughout the day, throughout the week, whether it's journaling here and there, it can help highlight some things that on a conscious level you didn't know were there or felt important to you. But as soon as you put that pen on the paper, it starts to flow, and then it brings up something that you weren't expecting. So that is a tool that I often talk about with my clients.
yeah, that's wonderful. I love it. And I love that it can be as simple as just once a week, just checking in, saying, how am I doing?
Yeah.
Just on your
Yeah.
phone. You can go get the beautiful journal and do the thing, but it doesn't have to be where you sit with your diary in front of your candles and take half hour.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all that. It could be on your phone, in your bathroom, on your notes. Write it. You know what I mean? Like right before the shower, after the shower, on your commute. Because I hear all the excuses, and not that I hear, I've used all the excuses. I myself have used all the excuses.
Me too.
Right?
Me too.
Anything else that you sort of any other tool?
Yeah. So in addition to the journaling, I would say explore the physical sensations that you're noticing throughout your body through a lens of curiosity. So if someone wants to give this a shot, perfectly safe for them to do so. And it's just following the sensation in their body. I want them to meet themselves where they're at. So even if it's a few seconds, because that's all that you can do right now, and you observe the qualities of that sensation, you notice what it's like, what is it doing? Is it moving? Is it big, small, sharp, numb, cold? Practicing a little bit of that technique and that tool will do a lot for their nervous system, help decrease the level of fear that we were talking about earlier, strengthen the relationship with their body, right? So that can be done anywhere. It can be done passively as you're sitting down in your seat. It can be active somatic tracking as you're walking, as you're on the treadmill in the gym, as you're moving, as you're working. It can just be a few seconds to a few minutes if you want it to be.
That's when the magic happens. It is. That's when the healing really happens. The last tool is get support. So how do they find you, Miss Carla?
Oh, well, I have a few social media platforms where folks can follow me at Your Pain Coach. That's Instagram and TikTok. And I also do some sound healing, which I recently got into earlier this year in an attempt to assist my clients that have a harder time with more traditional meditation. Sound healing is just another form of meditation, and I find that it can feel much more accessible and easier for some folks. And so I branched out, and I'm including that now in my healing toolbox. I can be found under finding.paz. That's P-A-Z, the Spanish word for peace. And that's where you can find all of my community sound baths. I also host private sound baths for folks that are wanting to have a more intimate and private experience. So those are some of the platforms that you can find me at. And if you are interested in chronic pain coaching, you can also email me at carlagmsw@gmail.com, and we can set up a consultation there.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Laura.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Carla. This is beautiful.
you. And thank you for all of your support, everything that you've done for me. I appreciate you. You're a great friend, and I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you. Thank you. What a sweet thing to
Thank
say.
you.
Thank you so much, Carla. There you have it, friends. Our bodies are always speaking to us if we're willing to listen. So let's get comfy paying attention to the signals, to the feelings, to all of it, because it matters. You go to the gym for your body, you can go to the journal for your mind, and use so many other ways. It's not just journaling. To start checking in with your mind, with yourself. It's all part of the same care. Carla's here for support. I'm here for support. We're all in this together. May we all keep finding, creating, and cherishing the safe spaces that help us live our buena vida. Bye, friends.
Get comfy with the uncomfy. That's where the magic begins.
Thank you for tuning in and spending some time with me today. And we all know the podcast spiel. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to subscribe, follow, rate, drop a little love in the reviews. It really does help, and it helps spread the word. And hey, if you know someone who needs this, any of this, in their ears right now, please share the episode with them. And if you're ready for more than just listening, ready to shift, to stretch, to step into your own buena vida, then let's do this, yeah? From one-to-one personalized coaching to group coaching, fun workshops, and all kinds of other little goodies, all the info is waiting for you over at my website, www.buenavida.life, or connect with me on the gram at Buena Vida Life Coach.
I'm getting comfy in the uncomfy, dancing with the night until it holds me. Breath by breath, I let it flow. Even in the dark, my light will show.
You made it to the end, and here is the very last message. You can hold the hard. You can hold the discomfort. You can hold all that and still reach for joy and still reach for good. You can be scared and still keep going. You can get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And when you don't feel like you can, come find me. Until next time, friends, keep going, keep growing, show the world who you are, and never, ever stop betting on you. Thank you for listening to Get Comfy with Laura. This episode is brought to you by me, Laura Cardona, producer, me, researcher, me, audio engineer, me, editor, me, social media, me, expert, me, giving myself credit where credit is due. For more, head over to buenavida.life. Bye!